Good morning everyone. In today's topic, I would like to discuss you regarding epidemiology of leprosy. So coming to the topic leprosy here, leprosy it is a chronic infectious disease and it is a surface infection and it is caused by the organism which is called as Mycobacterium leprae, and it is affecting mainly the peripheral nervous system. Coming to the cardinal features here, you can observe hypopigmented patches like in this picture, and you can see the loss of cutaneous sensations. You can observe thickened nerves and the presence of acid-fast bacilli in the skin or the nasal smear. So these are the cardinal features of leprosy. Coming to the advanced signs of this disease here, in advanced size you can observe lumps on skin of face and ears. So you can observe here the lumps, and plantar ulcers you can see, and loss of fingers or toes. In this picture you can clearly observe here, and you can see the condition nasal depression as you can see in the picture here, and you can observe foot drop and claw toes. So these are the signs of advanced disease leprosy. Coming to the history of the disease here, it is the oldest disease which is known to the mankind, and it was derived from a Greek word which is called as leper, which says scaly. And this is a disease which is confused with the psoriasis, elephantiasis and pellagra, which is known as Kushtaroga. This leprosy was previously called as Kushtaroga, and it is a disease which is confused with psoriasis, elephantiasis and pellagra. And in the year 1873, the man Hansen of Norway, he discovered the bacteria Mycobacterium leprae, and in the year 1943 they have used the drugs, sulfone drugs, in the treatment of this disease leprosy. Coming to the problem statement here, so in 1991 the WHO it has taken a resolve to decrease the level of leprosy, that is over by 90%, and they have achieved it mainly in the fall of prevalence rate, which there was sudden fall of the prevalence rate because they have improved the management of cases, and there was low rates of relapse of the disease, and the curing rate of this disease was highly increased, and there was absence of the drug resistance Mycobacterium leprae. So as you can see here, and the duration of the treatment also became shorter. So, and the WHO global strategy it helped further reducing the leprosy burden and sustaining the leprosy control activities, that is from the year 2006 to 2010. So coming to the main elements here, main elements of the strategy were like they have sustained leprosy control activities in all the endemic countries, and use of case detection as a major indicator to monitor the progress of the disease. Mainly they are ensuring the high quality diagnosis, they are ensuring the proper case management, they are recording, reporting in all endemic communities, and they have strengthened the routine and referral services so that the patients are receiving accurate treatment with specialized physicians through the referral services. So these are some main elements, and continuation of these elements, they have discontinued the campaign approach. So previously they used to conduct the camps and they used to motivate the people to attend the camps, but after discontinuing this campaign approach, they have started the home based or community based approach, and it is mainly integrated with locally for the appropriate prevention of disabilities or impairments, or for the provision of rehabilitation services. So these developmental tools and procedures, they were mainly focusing upon the home based approach, and they are mainly focusing on the community based approach, and these were mainly focusing on the prevention of disabilities and impairments. If at all the disabilities and impairments had occurred, they are mainly focusing on the provision of rehabilitation services. And the next one is they want to promote operational research in order to improve implementation of sustainable strategy. And the other one is encourage supportive walking arrangement with the partners at all levels. So the main thing we can provide is mainly the supportive therapy or the psychological thing. So they have included this psychological aspect, as well as they have included the operational research. So whenever they are doing the research, they will come across new possibilities, they will come across new solutions, they will come across new problems, so that the implementation of the program will be in a smooth and appropriate manner. So coming to the India here, if you take India, leprosy was widely prevalent in India, and now out of 611 districts in India, 487 districts are free from the disease leprosy, and a total of 0.87 lakhs were recorded on 1st April 2008, and the prevalence rate is about 0.74 leprosy cases per 10,000 population. This is leprosy in India. Coming to the main aspect here, epidemiological determinants. First we will discuss regarding the agent. So what is the agent here? The agent here which is responsible for this Mycobacterium leprae is Mycobacterium leprae. The agent which is responsible for this disease leprosy is Mycobacterium leprae, and they have the affinity for Schwann cells and cells of reticuloendocrine system, and these bacterial load is the highest of lepromatous cases, and they were about 2 to 7 million organisms which are estimated in 1 gram of leproma. If you see here, this phenolonic glycolipid, that is also called as PGL, it is the specific Mycobacterium leprae. Coming to the source of infection here, so the source of infection is mainly here the multibacillary cases of this infection, and all the patients with active leprosy, they are considered as an infectious, and the man is the only source and man is the only host for this Mycobacterium leprae. If you take the portal of exist here, they are mainly discharging from the nose, they are mainly exiting from the nose, and this Mycobacteria leprae is discharged in the nasal mucosa. It can also exit through the ulcerated skin or broken skin. Coming to the infectivity here, these are highly infectious, but they are having low pathogenicity, and they can be rendered non-infectious by treatment of 3 weeks. So within treatments, if you are giving the treatment for 3 weeks, then we can make them as a non-infectious, and local application of rifampicin can destroy the bacilla within 8 days. That's what you can see in the strategy here, as we have discussed in the earlier cases. Mainly the treatment part here is very short duration. We have a short duration treatment part. That's what if you are applying the rifampicin directly on the skin here, the bacilli, it will be destroyed within 8 weeks, and if you are giving proper treatment to the patient, within 3 weeks the infection can be rendered to non-infectious state. Coming to the attack rate here, in households it had increased from 4.4% to 12%, and it is expected to show signs and symptoms within 5 years. If any person in the household is infected, within 5 years the other persons in the house, they are expected to show the signs and symptoms within the 5 years of infected person. Coming to the host factors here, in this infection, it can take place at any time depending upon the exposure of the patient to the Mycobacterium leprae, and this incidence, it will peak between the years of 10 to 20 years of age. Mainly it is coming in the 10 to 20 years of age, and then it will fall down. If there is by chance a high prevalence of this infection among the children, then it is an indication for the active spreading of the disease. So these are the host factors. Coming to the sex here, incidence and prevalence is higher in males than the females. So it is mainly affecting the males here compared to the females. Next one is migration. So it is occurring mostly in the rural population, and due to migration it is causing problem in the urban areas also. So it is a disease mainly occurring in the rural areas, but when these people are getting migrated to the urban areas, then they are causing the problem there also, means they are spreading the disease to the urban areas also. Coming to the genetic factors here, so human lymphocytic antigen HLA linked genes influence the type of immune response that develops. Coming to the environmental factors here, so humidity factors the humidity, it favors the survival of Mycobacterium leprae, and this Mycobacterium leprae, it can remain viable in dried nasal secretion for at least 9 days, and in moist soil or at room temperature it can survive for at least 46 days. So these are the environmental factors of Mycobacterium leprae. Coming to the modes of transmission here, so as I said, the main portal of exit was here, nose. So in the earlier slide also you can see here, it can remain viable in dried nasal secretion for at least 9 days. So that indicates mainly it is a droplet infection, and aerosols containing Mycobacterium leprae are the infectious source. Next one is contact transmission. So when a person is having close contact or direct or indirect contact with the active leprae person, so there they are mainly transmitting the disease, and other sources include insect vectors and tattooing needles. If any leprosy infected person has tattooed, unfortunately if the same needle was used for tattooing to the other healthy person, then there is main chance for transmitting the infection. Even when a person's skin is broken down, if a person is infected with this Mycobacterium leprae, even from the broken skin there are more chances for escape of the bacteria, which will lead into the infection M. leprae. Coming to the incubation period here, the incubation period here is about 3 to 5 years, or sometimes it is even more in number. If you take the classification here, mainly there are 3 types of classification. First one is Indian classification, second one is Ridley and Joplin classification, and third one is Madrid classification. So coming to the Indian classification, we have 5 types here: indeterminate type, tuberculoid type, and borderline type, and lepromatous type, and pure neuritic type. If you take the second one, Ridley and Joplin classification, again we have intermediate type, again we have tuberculoid type, again we have borderline type, again we have lepromatous type, and we have pure neurotic type. If you take the Madrid classification, we have 4 types here. We have indeterminate type, and we have tuberculoid type, and we have borderline type, and we have lepromatous type. So these are the classification of Mycobacterium leprae. Coming to the drugs here, in the treatment of the Mycobacterium leprae, mainly we are using the bactericidal drugs. So mainly they are using the rifampicin. It is the highest bactericidal drug against this Mycobacterium leprae. So single dose they are giving, that is of 1500 mg. 3 to 4 consecutive doses, the daily doses of 600 mg can be very effective. And the side effects of this rifampicin include nausea, abdominal pain, and vomiting. Coming to the other drug, it is called as dapsone. So it is used all over the world for the past 30 years, and the dosage will be like 1 to 2 mg per kg body weight, and it is having weekly bactericidal effect. And the other drug is clofazimine. So it is synthesized from the treatment of tuberculosis, and it has a great value against this Mycobacterium leprae. And usage of this drug may result in dark coloration of the skin, urine, and sweat. So this is the other drug, clofazimine. Next one they are using is ethionamide and protonamide. So these are the bactericidal drugs, and they are killing 98% of the Mycobacterium leprae within 4 to 5 days. And these are more expensive, and these are more toxic in nature, and these are used as third drugs in multibacillary leprosy. They are mainly used in the multibacillary leprosy. And the other drug of choice we have is quinolones. So they work by inhibiting the DNA synthesis in the bacterial replication, and other one is in these quinolones they are using the ofloxacin. It is the most preferable drug in this group, and they are taking 22 doses of ofloxacin, and they have observed 99.9% of viable Mycobacterium leprae was killed when they have taken exactly the 22 doses of ofloxacin. So here these are the treatment pattern which was recommended by the WHO, World Health Organization. So for adults, in case of multibacillary leprosy, they are using rifampicin, which is given 600 mg once monthly, and dapsone 100 mg which is given daily, and clofazimine which is given 300 mg once monthly and 50 mg daily. If it is bacillary leprosy, then they are giving rifampicin 600 mg once monthly and dapsone 600 mg daily for 6 months. For the children who are about 10 to 14 years of age, if it is multibacillary leprosy, they are giving rifampicin 450 mg once monthly and dapsone 50 mg daily, and clofazimine 50 mg once monthly and 50 mg daily, 150 mg once monthly and 50 mg daily. If it is paucibacillary leprosy, then they are giving rifampicin 400 mg once a day and dapsone 50 mg daily. This is treatment for children as it is recommended by WHO. And how they are estimating the problem means, mainly the disease load which is there on the community, mainly it was achieved by the conducting surveys, and the prevalence rate they will determine by examining the school age children. Why? Because if the disease was in peak range, it is mainly transferring in the children who are about 10 years of age. So if you check the school age children, if there is presence of Mycobacterium leprae there, then we can come to one conclusion that the disease transmission was in a peak stage. So how you can observe here means, mainly they are doing the physical examination. So inspection of the skin they are doing, mainly as I said in the earlier slide, there will be hypopigmented patches which can be observed on the skin. There will be lumps on the face, lumps on the ears, and the nose will become deprived. So they will check for all these things in the physical examination. So it is including inspection of skin and palpation of commonly involved peripheral and cutaneous nerves, and presence of thickening of nerves, testing the loss of sensation for heat, cold, pain, touch in skin patches. So it indicates the presence of Mycobacterium leprae. Coming to the bacteriological examination, they will perform skin smears, they will perform nasal smears, and they will do the nasal scraping. Why? Because the Mycobacterium leprae, it can observed in the nasal, and it is a droplet infection or it is an aerosol infection. So in skin smears, mainly we are taking from the lesions which are present on the skin. So hypopigmented patches are observed there. Hypopigmented patches are observed. So we will take the samples from hypopigmented patches, as well as we will take the we will take the sample from the lesions which were present on the ears, lesions which were present on the nose. And the next one is we are doing the nasal smears. So it is the best preparation from early morning mucus will help in the nasal smears, because early morning whenever we are taking the nasal smear we can observe the best results. And next one they can do is nasal scraping. So the nasal mucosal scraper is used here. And the next thing they can do is biopsy. So when they do the histopathological examination, when it is necessary, it gives an accurate classification of the disease Mycobacterium leprae or leprosy. And they perform the immunological test, which involve two types of tests. First one is test for detecting the cell mediated immunity and test for detecting the humoral antibodies. So test for cell mediated immunity, here they will do the lepramin test. They are injecting 0.1 ml of lepramin intradermally, and we can observe two types of reaction here. First one is early reaction and second one is late reaction. So coming to the early reaction here, this early reaction is it is also called as Fernandez reaction, and inflammatory reaction in this can be observed within 24 to 48 hours, and it tends to disappear within 3 to 4 days. If the redness is more than 10 mm at the end of 48 hours, then the test is considered to be positive and it indicates previous sensitization. So in this cell mediated immunity test, we are checking the early reaction. So this early reaction, it is also called as Fernandez reaction, and you can see the inflammation in 24 to 48 hours, and it will tend to disappear after 3 to 4 days. But if the redness is more than 10 millimeter, and at the end of 48 hours, so by the end of 48 hours, if the redness is still in 10 size, it indicates it is positive for the leprosy, and it indicates previous sensitization of the patient. If it is late reaction, so the late reaction occurs after 7 to 8 days, and maximum it can occur even after 3 to 4 weeks also. And if there is nodule more than 5 millimeter in diameter, then the test is positive. So we have two reactions, late reaction and early reaction. In early reaction, even after 48 hours, the ring which has formed, it is about 10 millimeters in size, then it indicates that the person is positive for leprosy. In late reaction, it can occur after 7 to 8 days, or even it can occur even after 3 to 4 days. And if the nodule is more than 5 millimeter in diameter, then it indicates the test is positive. Next one is LTT and LMIT, nothing but lymphocyte transformation test and leukocyte migration inhibition test. And it was developed, and they give a measure of cell-mediated immunity, and they used to detect this subclinical infection. So test for humoral response here is, means we have seen the test for cell-mediated immunity. Now we will see for detecting humoral immunity. So firstly, they are doing FLA/ABS test, nothing but fluorescent leprosy antibody absorption test. So it is used to identify mainly the subclinical infections, and it is 92% sensitive, and it is 100% specific in detecting the bacteria, Mycobacterium leprae. And second one they are doing is monoclonal antibodies. So these are mainly present against the Mycobacterium leprae. So if the Mycobacterium is present in the body, you can observe this monoclonal antibodies. So if the antibodies against the specific antigens are found, then it will become reagent of choice for identifying the Mycobacterium leprae. And the last thing they are doing is ELISA test. And next thing you have to do is surveillance, proper surveillance. So Paucibacillary leprosy, it is recommended to be examined clinically at least once a year for minimum 2 years. And multibacillary leprosy, so this leprosy is recommended to be examined clinically at least once a year, minimum for 5 years, so that we can stop the transmission of the disease and we can observe the patient in a close manner. Next thing we have to do is immunoprophylaxis. So this immunoprophylaxis indicates the BCG vaccine. It can provide some protection against the disease Mycobacterium leprosy. And there are several alternative vaccines which were presently under development, and it is called as candidate, and they are called as candidate vaccines, and none of them were attained or vaccinehood yet. If you see the deformities which were caused due to the leprosy here, so if the leprosy case is neglected and it is not treated in the early stages, it will develop the deformities, and these deformities are mainly due to the damage of peripheral nerve tracts or injury to the infection to hands and feet, and paralysis also occur due to some muscles. So we will see the types of deformities which is caused due to the Mycobacterium leprae. So we are having specific deformities, we are having deformities, and we are having anesthetic deformities. So in specific deformities, it is mainly occurring due to the local infection with Mycobacterium leprae. So it includes loss of eyebrows, nasal deformities, as we have seen in the first slide. Nasal deformities we are observing means depression of the nose we can see, and firstly it occurs from face to hand, from hand to feet, and sometimes it can cause paralysis also. Coming to the deformities, so mainly it is resulting in the damage of motor nerves, mainly like claw fingers we can observe, foot drop we can observe, even we can observe facial palsy. So it is mainly occurring from hands to feet, and feet to face. So this is the disease pattern here. In specific deformities, from face it is occurring, from face to hands, from hands to feet it is coming. If you see the anesthetic deformities here, it is mainly resulting from insensitivity because of the damage of sensory nerves, that is like ulceration, mutilation, mainly due to damage of sensory nerves like ulceration and mutilation. So it is occurring from feet to hands, hand to face. So these are the types of deformities which is caused due to the Mycobacterium leprae. So coming to the health education, coming to the last part here, health education, this anti-leprosy campaign, it was incomplete without education. So mainly the health education is mainly aiming to people to avoid this type of diseases, and it should be directed towards the patient and his or her family. You should educate the people about the true facts of leprosy, and you should remove all the fears regarding the disease. You should explain them the treatment pattern. You should explain them the control measures to control this disease leprosy, and you should explain the family members to provide psychological support and not to throw these persons out of the village or out of the house, so that because there is a social stigma which had included in the society. So previously, if any person, so as this disease was called as Kushroga, any person who was infected with this Mycobacterium leprae or leprosy, they used to get thrown out of the community, so which had increased the more prevalence rate. So we have to remove that social stigma. You have to isolate the persons, and if you are providing the correct treatment to the persons in the earlier stages itself, you can prevent this disease and you can cure this disease, Mycobacterium leprae. So as I said, we have to give social support here. Chemotherapy, if you are treating the person alone with chemotherapy, it cannot solve the problem. It needs some social support. So economic support you have to give, and social problems should be identified. So if you see the anti-leprosy activities which were there in India, mainly in 1874, the mission to leprosy was found by Bailey at Chamba in Himachal Pradesh. So they have introduced here Hindu Kushtu Nivaran Sangha, and they have introduced Gandhi Memorial Leprosy Foundation and National Leprosy Organization. It was established in the year 1965, and German Leprosy Relief Association was found. Demain Foundation is there, and Danish Save the Child Foundation is there, and National Leprosy Control Program. In 1954, it was converted into National Eradicated Program in the year 1983. So these were the anti-leprosy activities which were carried out in India. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. If you like the content, please like, share and subscribe. Share it to your friends who are the nursing students. And if you have any suggestions for me, you can drop it on the comment box. Thank you so much.